Well, hey, you silly guys and gals. Welcome. Welcome to, well, that was a little noodle fest there. Took a little nap this afternoon. Boy, was that nice. I just barely got up in time to set things up and get a little noodling in. Just kind of way to get some practice in. It's getting a little bit better. I mean, the rust is coming off slowly but surely. So it's good to have you guys here. I saw early, of course, Sue Finelli. Always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. It's just great to talk to you. I love your spirit, woman. You're just awesome. Mark and Joe Ray. Hey, it's great to see you here, my friend. We we need to get together and start playing music again. How about that? I'm throwing down the gauntlet, man. Let's do it. We're gonna do some music. I'm in a mood, can you tell? Hey, Dawn, informally hip. I hope that you are doing better today. I know it's been a struggle. We got some new kittens, as Joe told us. And hey, Megsy, how are you, my friend? Great to see you. Jay Armstrong and all the usual suspects here. Valley Parks, hey, welcome. Great to see you guys here. So, let's see, what are we going to... Oh, yeah. Just the kids a grab bag today of stuff. Of course, it's a .5 episode. Wayne McCroy is not here with us this afternoon. He'll return next Sunday for episode 8, the full episode. I love it. I'm getting a heads up. Copyrighted audio and video in my stream. I don't know. I just pulled that stuff right out of my butt. I don't know how. It's not even copyrighted. That's just great. That's good stuff. I love you, YouTube. Well, I guess we can touch, I don't know, we'll touch on that. Mentioned on Saturday, Exodus. So beyond the second book in the Bible and number 2 of the Pentateuch. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But oh geez, dear, we got some crazy stuff there going on today. How do we tie all this together? Let's do this. Had received a number of messages. So there was a few things that we kind of touched on yesterday, on Saturday, in unintended consequences. And I try to keep these things separate, but this is going to be, again, this is a little weird episode. I'm trying to, nudge it this way. We'll see how it goes. I know it kind of gets it all mixed up, but it's the same group of folks pretty much. So I'm glad that you're here, and we'll just kind of, we'll just go with the flow. How about that? All right. So in the discussion regarding, let's see where we want to do this. Okay. So mentioned on Saturday the strange anomalies with the Schumann resonance. And so if you folks are not yet familiar with Schumann resonance, it is essentially the... well, it's a very low frequency. It is both electromagnetic and audible. You can actually hear it. It's centered around 7.8 hertz. And let's see, this is what it typically looks like, and you can kind of see this. So this is showing a variety of frequencies as well. So you have the harmonic, and then you've got the resonant frequencies, and thus the Schumann resonance. And it's for the whole Earth, and every living thing is connected to it in one way or another. Scientists really are only now beginning, and I say scientists, with kind of air quotes there, because we know there's a lot of pseudoscience going on. And you sort of have to read between the lines. It makes it much more difficult. So you have to both understand the physics and the jargon that they're using in their particular discipline. And then you have to have a cross-disciplinary understanding to tear it back apart, because most of what they're doing is sort of putting a cover on it, right? And so it makes it more difficult to understand. So you have to put a variety of different things together. This is often, I think the Schumann resonance would be better understood thinking about musical frequencies and waveforms and how constructive and destructive interference works. You might get the same sort of thing if you did any sort of, let's say, microwave broadcasting, if you're familiar with that sort of stuff, and what, pressure waves look like, anything like that, or electromagnetic waves would give you a better take on it. But again, you sort of have to pick apart and tease out what's actually going on. And one of the things that becomes more and more clear is that these are connected to the base resonance of Earth, and again, the NASA folks would give you Did I keep that? Let's see. I guess I did not keep that. They would show you this field occurring in the ionosphere, sort of around the globe of the Earth and bouncing back and forth. And I think most of us here have a better understanding that that is not actually going on. What we're probably looking at, and again, I'm not making any positive claims of absolute certainty, but from best I can tell, this is what we've got going on. If you were to picture this whole thing, this is a dual toroidal. I think we were looking at a quadrupolar toroidal, but this is at least to get you started. So this is a toroidal field here. You can see what look like two donuts. We have the as above, so below. This green area is the dielectric accretion disk there, inertial accretion disk. And so this has got the negative charge on it here, and it kind of balances out the two poles. And this is where you would think of as the flat plane of Earth. So we have the as above, so below, polarities, not necessarily a duality, but a polarity, and those are different things. But this is certainly very well comports with some of the electromagnetic readings that we get in terms of even that we're told that the atmosphere kind of comes down right at the North Pole, and this is exactly what we would see here. This is, again, comports very, very well to what we would see. And so here's another look at it. There's your flat plane. This does not really showing the below here, but there's the dielectric inertial accretion disk, and there's your star field in the firmament, and then you kind of have another below. You get the fountains of the deep, the waters above, the water below, that sort of thing. And so this is a much better way, I think, much easier to think of in terms of, if you go back here, these frequencies as it appears, but there's a resonance cavity, and that just like the body of a guitar or an acoustic instrument, the body cavity harmonizes, it resonates, and that's where you get the projection, the amplification for an acoustic instrument. That's why the strings are run over a hole in an acoustic guitar, for example. The body of the guitar is shaped in such a way, it's got those two cavities, and it harmonizes with the strings and begins to resonate. That cavity resonates and then begins to make it louder. You get constructive interference, the two frequencies that bounce off each other, but in a way that amplifies them. And so you do that 2 or 3 times, you get pretty good amplification. All right, so the FE dome pi. Oh, the dome pick. I thought it was a dome pi. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. Something like that, I think, is a pretty close approximation to what we see. So the Schumann resonance, again, bounces around in this cavity. It's the fundamental frequency of the resonant frequency of Earth. And again, it is both electromagnetic, so it's electrical, it's magnetic, and it's also audible. And it's a very interesting thing. I don't know if you've ever heard lightning bounce off what I think is probably the firmament. It has an echo, right? Well, where would it echo to? Sound propagates in all directions, other than, if you have a field, that would be the plane of Earth, right? So that turns it into 180 degrees instead of 360 degrees, but it emanates in a free field, just like you see here. So the energy that goes away here, and this is consistent with the inverse square law, that as you go out, the energy per area decreases because the area increases. So it's the same amount of energy, and as it expands, the area is greater, and so it's inversely proportional. So does the Schumann resonance decay to give three? Yes, it does. It does give harmonic frequencies, and that is what you'll see. Give me a moment. Here. So these are different resonant frequencies, and so you get the third, the fifth, and so these are all ratios of one another, much like the Pythagorean theorem. And so the reason I'm bringing you up to date with the Schumann resonance and kind of getting, not residence, but resonance, the reason that we're getting into this is because I introduced the idea yesterday that there was a strange anomaly that was observed this last week, indicating that from what we can tell, and again, I still have not been able to 100% confirm what the cause was, but what we saw was, and again, this is what you would normally see. This is kind of one of the kind of measurements that we see here, right? What we saw was that on the 2nd, so really overnight on the 31st, there was a very large coronal mass ejection from the sun that was observed. And again, it's not the way what they describe it, but it's still, it's a thing. It happened, but it's not giant things out in space, at least insofar as I'm concerned. I think we're all on the same page here. So what happened was this data dropped out completely. So that happened on the overnight between the 31st and the 1st. And then on the 2nd, we saw the Schumann resonance receivers all over the world. And that's what makes it weird. It's not just in one location. There are a variety of locations that have very sensitive arrays set up to measure this, and they all went down. And then it came back, but when it came back, it was still empty for the most part. And it happened at exactly 6 a.m. UTC. As you can see there, if I zoom in a little bit here, again, what you can see here is really close to right at the top of the hour. It just, everything went right there. And what we see now, this could be consistent. We talked about this. Could be consistent with the, just the data being drawn out and substituted with nothing. But this makes these little blips here occurring about every 2 hours, and in kind of a pattern, right? So you have long, a couple of quick shorties, but then two, then long. Those, and they are consistent across the board, right? So you see these things that line up here, and these are, again, on the different frequencies. So this would indicate that it did literally go down. Now, there's a possibility. I was talking to Rose 777. She was talking to Crow, and Crow immediately said, "Poppycock." That's not a real thing, because it would be the Earth would be dead. And I'm like, well, yeah, I see that. I see the conversation in the chat. Yes, 7 Raven Wolf. I'm so sorry. I absolutely will get it up, but I 100% meant it to do it this weekend, and I got just again really nudged really hard, and I just got to follow that. But we'll definitely get it on. There's no issues about not wanting to do it at all. I've been very much looking forward to it, especially with what's been going on in Australia right now, and definitely want to show support for our friends there. So we'll absolutely get that up as an interview I did a while back with 7 Raven Wolf, and it just needed some editing, and then it was a little more complicated, and then I didn't have an editor, and then I downloaded one and I used it, and then my trial license expired, and then I had to pay for another one, and it was all kinds of messed up stuff. So I finally got it all worked out, and then I got nudged out of nowhere. So when Dad says, "Hey, do this," then I got to do that. So we'll absolutely get it up. So I'm also looking forward to it. All right, so back to, I just wanted to sidetrack and address that while it's there. No, it's a little bit nuts, but again, it's absolutely not about desire or intent. I absolutely, it was a delightful conversation. I just fell in love with you, our way. Anyway, so this thing dropped out and just ended. So again, could the information have been scrubbed? Well, yes, but we do see little blips here, and they're consistent with the idea that the information. Again, this is now a little bit more interesting. What we see here is, now this is probably consistent with the next idea, which is that somebody put out an alternating frequency, that is a frequency that's polarity reverse and upside down, such that it would cancel it out. And that is almost as frightening as the idea that it actually just went down of its own accord. Neither of those things really are, I would think, good things. This is, again, if you think about the human body, it would be like it went into a coma. Or, I don't know. Here's the things I find interesting is that it's not just a single source. They all went down. Nobody really in the mainstream is talking about it, so they're not providing a major excuse, although there's not too many people. So random number generators, I hadn't looked into that because I had been looking a little bit more. I had a lot of responses from people having physiological effects. And this is one of the things that I mentioned on yesterday during the stream, was to ask people what sort of, if they'd had any sort of physiological or psychological effects that they had noticed. I certainly did, and I had some random but anecdotal information that other people had out of the ordinary. And then a few folks called in, and they all had I would say similar, although on a continuum. So between very oppressive and difficulty sleeping and stress to feelings of almost euphoria and clearer thinking. Now, it's interesting because I was doing a little bit more research into its physiological effects. And one of the things that I came across was a thing called the Sedona effect. And it can have very specific indications physiologically. And often when there's a spike, people get these things, sort of a tingling in the crown chakra area on top of your head, elation, mild euphoria, increase in conscious awareness, tiredness or sleeplessness. Again, it can fluctuate back and forth. Some dizziness, vertigo, inability to focus, headaches. And I noticed that from a couple of respondents. People said that they had experienced some headaches or also lack of hunger. And these are sometimes associated with spikes or powerful anomalies within the Schumann frequency. So again, what actually happened, don't know for sure. And did it actually go out? I don't know. I mean, the other option is perhaps, again, there was something much like we saw the telescopes all get shut down for, I mean, so many powerful telescopes within a period, over a period of 6 weeks to about 4 months that were shut down and with no data coming out, especially radio telescopes. So the frequency 7 Ravenwood dropped out. Well, it would be 6 a.m. UTC on the 2nd. There. So about 6 a.m. is when it dropped out, and it would stay out for about 45 hours and return with a blip on the 4th. So nearly 2 full days of data gone. And again, hard to say whether this was actually a change in the property of the Schumann frequency itself or a worldwide data dropout. Now, yep, Arecibo did collapse, a physical collapse, but there was I think about 18 months ago, I recall, that they shut all these radio telescopes, including advanced optics and multi-frequency optics telescopes, down with no information coming out, and then all sorts of strange stuff. Some of them had plumbing problems, a la Walmart pre-Jade Helm. Some of them had one of them in Arizona had some, I don't know, there was like all kinds of intrigue. Some guy they came and the FBI came and surrounded it and shut it down for embezzlement or some crazy thing, and it was just, they shut the whole town down. It was unreal. So it was very clear that they seemed to be hiding something. And I don't know that we've ever come to any conclusion about what they were actually trying to hide other than something. And again, my spidey senses tell me that there's absolutely something up with this. I don't know. I don't know which way it swings because, again, at data anemia, I simply lack a lot of data. So 7 Ravenwood says, went to bed at 7:30 p.m. Wednesday night, exhausted, right? Never go to sleep that night. I know. So again, I had strange things, and I felt like almost a physical sensation of, somebody like a cog, like a major shift after a period of stress beforehand. So it was like an increasing stress or just something out of place or that intensity, and then it went like something actually changed. And this corresponded with what with this weird anomaly with the Schumann frequency, and that's why I began to look into it. And then I had one of my friends on social media ask about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting in here. I just started to kind of dig in a little bit and see what we could see. So again, what we see is the data returned. It's got just not much there. And again, this squiggly stuff sort of indicates, again, less flat than perhaps an attempt to counteract it, right? So I don't really know for sure what to tell you. So I'll switch over here and show what's been happening since then. So these are pretty much real time over the course of a day or so, as you can see here. And so it's picked back up, although it's remained fairly low. The amplitude has been pretty low with one major spike. So coming out of that, again, it was almost dead. And again, this is from, these are taken from a variety of different places and put together. So this data, again, appears that it was very, very low, almost nothing, before it came back. So the frequencies are there, but the amplitude had dropped off to next to nothing. Taking a look at some other servers, again, this is on the 5th, and that would be yesterday. Some activity here, and then again overnight. This is pretty consistent. What this sort of breathing thing here is kind of consistent with what we see normally, but the dropouts are so deep. It's really odd. And then we had a major incident, and this is using both the Marconi antenna and a geophone, so the audible and electromagnetic data combined. And then we see this huge ping here, and that's just been overnight. So again, very interesting stuff. You can see the attributes here. Again, very smooth and stable, very kind of low, and then all of a sudden, bang, another thing here. So my senses would tell me that we're looking at some kind of incident that did occur, although I can't say what and, how exactly that's going to manifest itself, although we've seen a variety of things. This takes a look over, again, this is about a year, so we can go from, unfortunately, it only goes up through the 17th. It takes them a while to process the data, so this chart only goes as far as August 17, and I can go all the way back here to last year. And you can see here, again, the amplitude in some areas is very high, and then it took a major dip right in through the end of April and early May. It took a major dip again. And then it went kind of wonky, right? So it sort of flipped. And this line here, and this C1, this is California. That line there, I guess, which is it? Which one I'm looking for? That one is Alberta, Canada. So the west coast there. And then this one, this is in South Africa. And notice that one. That's the dark purple line there. Notice how large that was, and what a major dip that went there. So this is, I don't know, it's fascinating, and I'm trying to get more information about it. And again, if I zoom in here, this is the last month. You can see starting, so this is in August, and this is about the 9th, and then you can see how far down it drops. And again, if we look at this one, number 4, this is Alberta, Canada. It fairly well just drops out to nothing. That may be that site going down, that they're really just not showing any data there at all. But we got 2 of them that have done it in that space right there. So both Saudi Arabia, which is here, went out, and then the Alberta, Canada is out. So what does it mean? Oh, yeah, I'm not going to go into making any claims on that. I'm just going to say it's interesting. And correlation does not necessarily equal causation, but I think it's something to keep an eye on, that there are things going on, especially since it's been shown that the Schumann frequency does a couple of interesting things, and one of them has to do specifically with the blood pressure in humans. So the systolic, which is the top number, tends to go up as the base frequency, which again centers at around 7.8 hertz, rises. And in periods where it rises over 9 and has a higher amplitude, then what we see is that systolic pressure in humans can rise up to 10%, which is pretty substantial. And they correlate almost 1-to-1. One intention, yeah. So yeah, intention, definitely. Okay, so Schumann resonance, covering that. So, sorry, I got Arnold Palmer here. Arnold Palmer with a skirt on. I call it a Caitlyn Jenner. All right. So anyway, just a quick little update on the Schumann resonance and what I'm observing with that, trying to get a bit more information. And again, have been getting a wide variety of reports from people who indicated that, again, the symptoms were different. However, many people noted them, that they or someone close to them was having an extraordinary set of circumstances over the last few days that's consistent with the same time period. So again, I think it's related. This is, again, 7.8 hertz is about the same as the changeover between the alpha and the beta wave frequencies of human consciousness. So in the For What It's Worth department. All right, so connected, let's move on to the next little bit, and that has to do with Exodus, right? So let my people go. Discussed this a little bit, talking about the great Exodus, the planned Exodus from social media. Noted a couple of platforms that I've looked at. I think, again, I'm going to do a backup of some kind, and just to be ready. But given some thought and consideration from my perspective, I'm gonna. I mean, they've already got all the data they're going to get, from me. There's not, not much more. And my position has been for a very long time that they have access to all the data anyway. There's nothing I can do to prevent them from getting data. The more methods that you try to use to prevent it simply puts a big red flag up and says, hey, look at me. I'm trying to hide stuff. So, yeah. So I just, go along with my life with the clear understanding that everything that I do and say and everywhere I go now with cameras everywhere is monitored, and they, not just that they could find you if they wanted to, but that they do actively track every living person all the time and create simulated models. And again, it's been my contention that one of the things they don't do well is to model love. They if you are connected to the Creator and operating out of that connection of pure love, they cannot account for that. It's they have an artificial model. They're not only modeling, but they're projecting and pushing the behavior by using programming, right? This hypnosis that they're using on people, which is what, again, the original Awakening Project had somebody ask about that the other day. I am planning to, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, planning to release some of the data in October as I prepare for phase 2, which will probably be coming right around the first of the year. Again, I had no idea it would be such an adventure. I figured I'd get 50, 60 respondents and I'd figure out what I could. And instead, we've had now nearly 400 respondents, and trying to put all that data together and dig more out of it. The more data points the more respondents I get, the more data points I have to correlate. And so that's turned into a really wacky thing, but I have a pretty good start on what phase 2 looks like and in correlating the data from phase 1. And there's some pretty significant things, and I think we can draw some inferences for it. So I'll be digging into that beginning in October, and with charts and everything. Like a real professional and all that stuff. It'd be like real science. Woof. So yeah, when it comes to, I just like this because it's pretty, and the dogs and snow, and it's nice. So in regard to the actual Exodus and the idea of perhaps finding a place to tribe up. I mentioned this again both yesterday and this morning, just kind of touched on it. Again, not a new idea. Wife and I have been talking about it for quite some time, a number of years, and actually planned to immigrate just ourselves to South America about 5 years ago, just before everything sort of tanked for us financially. And we ended up very difficult circumstances. We're just now kind of digging out of. But the more everything changes, and certainly this year has been, we're starting to use it as a curse word. Like, how's it going? Oh man, shit went 2020. I'm telling you. Oh man, this is straight up 2020 right here. Yeah, so they have made a decade's worth of social engineering changes within a matter of months. And it appears, for the time being, as though they're not letting up. It just keeps getting more and more. And so, especially, again, over the last several weeks, and absolutely this last weekend, that part of that nudge was get ready, right? So start preparing for a transition, and tribing up seems to be the thing to do, to get together and physically get into space for self-sustenance, if not survival. And likely, and I know we have listeners from all over the world, but likely because the high preponderance of folks are in North America, trying to get someplace here and to work out the kinks if we can, considering a number of different ideas. I want to just clearly say, I don't even want to mention it, but but it's funny. Tony the Troll had, I guess, listened to the Saturday stream and heard me mention that there was a great piece of property that somebody found in one of my groups. It was around $600,000. And I mentioned, well, I don't have the money. Maybe we got Kickstart or do some fundraiser or something. Sort of half kidding, and I explicitly said that I have no intention of being like a leader of any kind. I want to be part of something. I guess I don't pay any attention to it. I don't ever watch any of this material that somebody messaged me earlier and said, "Oh, you said you're trying to scam people out of 600,000." I'm like, "Woo, awesome!" But it's not Baldtaria. It's not running around naked campground. It's again just again, I talked to somebody who had actually got some property, and we're just trying to figure it out. Just try to get some good people together and all contribute. Again, I would like to support somebody's idea. I mean, my wife and I have talked about ways to make a society sort of work, but I just want to be part of something that's great. That's all I want to do. And again, if we can work out the kinks in advance before moving on, perhaps, or even making sort of inhabitants, right? As Nemo mentioned, that was a pretty good thought because you're not the first that's had that. Another person I'm talking to, Renee, has mentioned sort of a native, the First Nations type thing of just being a little bit transient. Have places you go here and there for a fall of the weather, move around. Might make it a little more difficult to be tracked down. I don't know. We'll take a look and just see how we get led. But I'll tell you this: I'm in, and that's kind of the next thing for me is to try to make that into a reality. So I'm willing to group up with some folks and try to get a tribe together and see if we can get our feet on the ground and try to get out, get a space together, and maybe more than one, right? Just different people and try some things out. So anyway, there's that is. But no, I'm not trying to take anybody's money. It's hysterical. Anyway, let's see what else. Arizona. There's a couple of people. I know Jason Gay has been spending a pretty good amount of time. I've seen a number of his results, and he's looking for a variety of different places, and often sends over some things. He just found another one in Costa Rica. My parents loved Costa Rica. My dad tried to get my family. He tried to talk my mom into move my family there a number of times in the mid 1980s. He had some extended business trips there. One for almost 2 months, and just fell in love with the place and wanted to move there. Very low cost of living. Now things have changed pretty dramatically since, but this was a glorious self-sustaining compound with, the features are off the charts, like 1.3 million, and that's again, consider that it's value like triple that value or more for anything in the United States at all. And probably 10 times as much in any place like the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast. It is a remarkable property. No, I'm not trying to scam anybody out of $1.5 million. Just saying, it's pretty awesome, right? I mean, I just think nothing is beyond Dad. If he wants things to happen, things will happen. But I'm willing to contribute whatever I can to make it happen, both sweat equity and what finances I have. I'm willing to put into that. So anyway, just I'm throwing that out there because I want to see what we can manifest. And I've talked about that for a while, trying to make something good manifest. Maybe this is it. But I certainly got a nudge to try to do something there. So those of you who are of similar mind, and again, I know I've received several emails already of people who are going, count me the fuck in. So, yes. I mean, we want to vet everybody, of course, first and make sure that we have the right people, because the wrong people, even in a perfect location, are doomed to failure, but the right people will make it work anywhere. And I think that for the most part, we have the right people here. Most of the people that I know that are in this stream right now are the kind of folks I would want to be around and to try to make this work. So anyway, we got that going for us, which is nice. Yeah, to that end, again, I'm sort of sorry that I mentioned a person's name. It's not my way. I don't usually call people out. I will sometimes make note of behaviors to be aware of or to be cautious of. The people are less important. I've often said that, people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. And some people just get more excited than others, or they're more adept at putting things out. But many of these things are not new. And, well, I get out. My point in saying this is I just be like pattern recognition, right? So I noticed a person that I'd seen on social media yesterday, day before, something like that, and they have I've seen them make several positive claims, but of the kind where they this is this, and if you think anything else, then you're retarded, you're dumb. I don't go for that. But again, I let everybody be them. I'm not going to, tear anybody up for that. But then I saw they had put up they went on a live stream and said, Bible study, bitches. Well, like, this will be good. And I caught about 10 seconds of it, and in the entire 10 seconds, every word that they said was wrong. I mean, not something I think, but actually like wrong. So the first thing was, it's the second book of, there's 2 books of John. I'm like, no, there's the Gospel of John, and there's 3 books of John. And then they kind of figured that out as they went because they couldn't find it. And then they said, and they didn't correct themselves or acknowledge that they'd made an error. They just kind of kept going and then said, yeah, it's right before Revelation. Well, no, there's actually John 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then there's Jude, and then Revelation. So I was like, okay. So I was done because every single word that they had said with attitude, I'm going to show you motherfuckers what's up. Okay. Yeah, again, just pay attention to that kind of behavior. That's not helpful, right? I had this kind of, I mentioned it earlier today. I just want people to, use some, use good discernment, right? Like, so this idea that, you've heard it 1,000 times, that the Bible is a book written by men to control men. Okay, well, and you got this idea from a book written by a person, or maybe not even book, just somebody saying it. And for control. Okay, well, keep in mind the Catholic Church, for better part of 600 plus years, it was punishable by death to even have any portion of a single page of the Bible, or to know any of its verses. William Tyndale was burned at the stake for translating the Bible from the Vulgate Latin into the local language, so people could actually read it and find it accessible. So it's tough to control people when the the control book is punishable by death, is controlled. So anyway, just like, use good discernment, I guess, is all there. It's like, those who claim that they have the secrets to the universe, I don't know. I've read literally millions of pages of material, and I found great wisdom everywhere. I have yet to find anyone that had all the secrets to the universe. Ever. I know I don't. I know it's not to be found within the pages of any book that I've ever read, and I've read a lot of them. By the way, I understand most of what I read, just to throw that out there as well, because some people read things and they don't understand it. But the point, again, I'm not trying to be, arrogant or kind of a dick here, but I am saying some people are, and that kind of rankles me a little bit. When people take these condescending stances, like they know exactly what's up. And I'm here to tell you, again, I always say, don't trust me, don't listen to what I say. But here's my observation, is that that's, again, absolute certainty is the eminent domain of frauds and fools. And especially when they don't speak clearly, especially when they claim to have the secret answers and all the answers, and nobody else has what they have. And I've never, ever once seen that to be anything but a fraud and a scam, ever, or delusion, ever in history. I will say that if I offer anything, it is simply to use good discernment. And if you want to know, ask Dad. Don't get it from me. And it's not, I'm not pulling the strings like Wizard of Oz. There's no secret magic trick where if you go pray and ask the Creator that He's going to tell you what I think. That's preposterous, right? I'm saying, if you want to know what's going on, ask Dad what he thinks. And then you can go from there. So I guess we've got that, which is nice. I'm just saying, use good discernment. I'm not, you believe what you want, and I'm not claiming veracity of anything. I'm saying, take all these claims and measure them, weigh them, right? Do some serious thinking about the claims and who stands to benefit. This is what I always look for when I'm looking at things, for example, in the media, right? Is when they make claims, who stands to benefit from that? Because they don't do it without a reason. And people do things usually for themselves, and very often those who claim to be the most helpful are the least helpful. They're doing it for their own benefit. So we have that. Yes, people are pretty good at convincing themselves by seeking that what they want to hear. Sure, because it's confirmation bias, right? So they want to find things that confirm what they already believe. Yeah, so I don't remember. I've seen It's a Wonderful Life probably 50 times. I don't know for sure, but that's what I say is ask Dad. Okay, so again, I'll get off my soapbox for a moment, and I'll just be clear again. If anybody takes that the wrong way, I'm not going after any person individually. I have no hard feelings toward anyone. But there are things that bother me, behaviors, and I try to, behave myself, comport myself with good intention and love toward all people, even those that are hateful for me, even you, Tony. I'm sorry that you didn't receive the love that you needed when you were growing up, and that you hurt. I really wish you wouldn't take that on other people, but I can't tell you what to do. So, but I'm very sorry that those things happened to you, and it's not what anyone would have wanted. But if you don't heal what's inside, you're going to bleed all over people that didn't cause those wounds. So there that is. Yeah, just be good to people, and if you can come from a place of love, as I've said before, if love is not the motive, God is not involved. And I think that that one stands on its own. What else did I want to cover? I had stuff on this and that. Maybe something over here. What? Oh, I want to share this one with you. Random. Probably apropos of nothing, but I'll share it with you anyway. If I can find a little of this. And there. And a little bit of perhaps that. Something I was reading today. From the book of Psalms, chapter 100. Shout with joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him singing with joy. Acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving. Go into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name, for the Lord is good, and his unfailing love continues forever, and his faithfulness continues to each generation. Hey, Nemo. Sorry you came in late. I mentioned you earlier. That's all right. You'll back up and hear it. I know you will. I don't want to go too long this evening. I really didn't have a lot. I think I had more on my mind, and perhaps it just slipped my mind. As I see the things around us kind of go sideways, that is my heart for everyone here today, which is that you love one another, and I see it so frequently, just in the interactions in the chat. Very, very little contention, a lot of positivity, just a lot of love in the room for one another, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. I want to say thank you so much for coming and joining me here every week. I know it's 3 in a weekend's a lot, and it didn't start out that way, and it wasn't the original intention. It was one of those unintended consequences. So, that having been said, I just wanted to say thank you. And I get, from time to time, notes and comments from people saying thank you for the work you do. And it's a lot of time and effort that gets put into it. But I do it as a gift to you, and because my intention, of course, is to do a couple of things. The first is the Awakening Project, right, and try to better understand what they've done to us and how we can get others out of that. So there's that aspect. But what really happened was in receiving and reading all these awakening journeys, the quality of people, meeting you, really impressed me. And I wanted to help foster and create a community if possible. And I think we have that. So I'm really delighted that you guys are here. And so really, this wouldn't exist without you, right? That's why I'm here. And so I'm super, super appreciative of you folks, and the kind words of encouragement and affirmation that you guys constantly provide is just really not only heartwarming, but sincerely received. And thank you so much. I really, truly genuinely appreciate it and really care for you folks when I see you and interact with you. And many of you, I have personal relationship with you. I talk to you on a regular basis, and I consider you all friends and my family. So you guys have become my family. I've adopted you. So Marky and Steve and Seven Ravenwolf and Jeremy and of course Informally Hip and Sue Finelli and Winston Megsy. You guys are my family, and I appreciate you so much. So thank you. And those of you who have contributed financially, thank you so much. There's a couple that I missed, like right at the end of a couple of streams, and it goes away. The stream and the super chat goes away, and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't even catch that. Some very generous ones. Thank you so much, and also to PayPal and other sources. So thank you so much for those. I don't ask for contributions. I have a regular job. I am trying to consider how to transition to doing this more full-time or more time and better if I had the time to spend on it to really do high-quality videos. I've got the material and the means to do it. I just right now kind of lack the time, and that's really at this point a financial consideration. However, if we do pursue perhaps tribing up, that might be a different thing. So it might turn out something different. So I think many of us have a variety of skills that we could use. Talk to several people about how we might sustain ourselves, at least in the short term, with some kind of income to make that work. If we just kind of drop what we're doing and head out somewhere, what that might look like. So there are some options there. I think we're clever folk, and we can figure some things out. Certainly the suggestion has been made, for example, doing a YouTube stream documenting a self-sustaining place, right, and what that looks like in our progress, and that might be a potential revenue stream. So there's a variety of different ways to look at it. Again, I'm certainly willing to join in and put effort in and be one of the many. So that's what I look forward to. I think it's time to do that, and I'm not, again, trying to really lead any revolution or anything. I just if I need to be a lightning rod for it, I'll do that. But mostly, I want to put my name on anything. I'm not. I have no interest, in wearing any kind of crown. That's just not my thing. But I would love to gather with you guys and to spend, from my perspective, the rest of my life growing and cooking and feeding and making coffee and making music and studying and learning and doing all the things that we want to do with you guys. I could absolutely see doing that for the rest of my life. So in that regard, again, consider it over. If it appeals to you, let's do this. Let's get together. I mean, I've become more excited. I've mentioned this before, that as crazy as things are, and as concerning as things can be, I've gone from being, again, concerned and a little tense over it. I'm excited for the possibilities because it looks like this is, I don't know, it's going down. They're doing their stuff, and to me that says let's do our stuff, right? So, yeah, I'll provide hugs too, Megsy. I'm all over it. So, but really, this is not just a I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I'm like, I think there's an opportunity to do this if we both plan well and, again, manifest it, right? And so let's continue this conversation back and forth. Let's join up and see what it takes to make it happen. I'm in. So that's what I would like to see. Is that we be able to create a situation that we can, get ready. And I don't know what to call it, survivalist or whatever, but at least, again, if bad things are going to happen, I want to be with my family, and you guys are my family. So that's how I'm looking at it. Don't threaten me with a good time, right? Anyway, there you go. You can think about it, think it over, and let me know what you think. You can, of course, reach me at all the usual places. Unintended consequences, unintended.consequences3@gmail.com. You can reach me at The Great Baldini, P.O. Box 2248, Linwood, Washington 98036. And reach out. I'll probably create a new email address specific to this idea of the Great Exodus. Come up with something catchy or whatever. I do have an email and a Dropbox set up for the 9/11 project, which is coming up this week. We'll talk more about that. I'll probably do a couple of extra bonus streams this week as we prepare for that, trying to capture some interesting stuff from our monitors and televisions, see what they got going on. So that was an idea from Crow 777. And sending love straight back to you in Australia, Seven Ravenwolf. Again, I'll try to get that episode up this week. I could actually probably use a little break myself, at least during that time. And so we'll make that happen. And again, just sending love down your way. I know things are going nuts in Australia. I see, at least from what I see in social media and mainstream media, it is a difficult situation, more difficult there than here in the U.S. And certainly those in New Zealand, my heart goes out to you as well. We're in it, looks like. And so my position is, again, I'm not going to fight back in terms of we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right, but against principalities and powers and wickedness in high places. And so, but I'm not going to lay down. Right? I do not consent. So if I fight, it's going to be with spirituality and with what I have to offer, which is love. And I think love for those around us. And so let's tribe up. And again, I do not consider the world or those in the world my enemy. That's not where I'm coming from. But I do believe that changing the world might be a difficult proposition, but you can change the world around you. And so to that extent, we can come together and make our time here valuable and meaningful. And that is what I have to say today. Anything you want to drop into the chat or comment on, I'm happy to look at. Love you guys too. There's a little bit of delay. I set it to a shorter delay today. Ceiling Fan Man, I was absolutely looking for that. Give me 10 or 15 minutes to transition, and I'll look for you, and we'll connect. I've kind of been looking forward to that. I took a little nap this afternoon, so sorry I missed you. Anyway, with that, sign off again with some, music that Joe and I wrote together. I want to say this is 1993-94. And I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the original band recording, a song called Still. I'll see you guys this week as we talk more about the Awakening Project and the 9/11 Photo Project and the Great Exodus. Take care.